All right, welcome. Today we have a really special guest on the channel. Welcome, Grant Dermody. How are you doing?
Good. Nice to be here with the two of you.
Yeah. Excellent. Yeah, I met Grant in 1998. I was asked to teach at Augusta Blues Week, and there was this guy by the name of Grant Dermody that had a harmonica above his eyeball in a photograph, and I never heard about the guy. And I was like, well, we can, we'll see how it goes. So turns out we were roommates. They put us together as roommates, and we just both clicked. We both really got on really good and talked, and it was the beginning of a fantastic relationship that feels like we've known each other forever.
That is very true. Yeah. The first day we met, we stayed up until 3:30 in the morning nerding out on harmonica stuff, which was pretty great. And it's been that way ever since. Yeah, it's good. Yeah. It turned out that we had kind of, we have slightly different styles maybe, but we think that the same things are important about harmonica, and I think that's why we teach together so well. So
yeah. So how did you get started? What is the beginning of your
my path?
My
harmonica path. Well, I started off as a drummer, and when I was a kid, and I was like always, I just kind of was always banging on my mom's knitting needles and doing stuff like that, and she eventually got me a pair of drumsticks because she wanted to knit with needles that weren't all bent up and everything, which I thought was really self-centered of her at the time. But I started doing that, and I took lessons from like the principal percussionist in the Seattle Symphony, and I kind of got into it, But then I got into playing basketball, and then when I was 18, I moved to Alaska, and my dad bought me a harmonica. He got me a 12-hole marine band with the red cone, and I just started messing with that, and I didn't even know he played, I mean, I didn't hear my dad make music at all, like the whole time that I was growing up. But he was a pretty darn good musician. He played the violin and he played the harmonica. And so I was living in Alaska. This is 1976. And it was when the pipeline was going, and there was a ton of money in this town of 30,000 plus people. There was probably 14, 15 places that had live music on a given night, and I just went to all of them, and I started sitting in with whoever would let me play. And this was way before I had any business playing music in front of other people.
Trial by fire.
Yeah, but I did not know this at the time, and so I just started sitting in with everybody and starting to just learning how to play. And then I moved back to Seattle after 6 years. In Fairbanks, Alaska. This is where this was, and I met Kim Field. I heard him play out at a club one night, and as far as I was concerned, he was far and away the best player in Seattle. I mean, nobody else could touch him, and he had everything, man. He had the swing, he had the groove, he had the tone. He was a scholar of the instrument, and I started taking lessons from him, and that was it, man. I was just locked in after that.
Man, oh man. And you also did have some encounters with Paul DeLay?
I did. Paul, I took 2 lessons from Paul DeLay, and then he told me that I didn't need lessons from him anymore. He just said, go. He called everybody Bubba. He said, Bubba, you don't need lessons, man. Just play. And we played a lot of pool together, and we hung out a lot. And I learned a lot from him. I loved his phrasing. I loved what a great singer he was. I loved how he just told the truth, man, all the time. Whatever it was that he was doing was the absolute truth. And he was completely unique, man. I mean, nobody else sounded like that guy on the chromatic or on the diatonic. And what a singer, and what a songwriter.
Right.
Yeah, and we became good buddies. Yeah, we played a lot of pool together and hung out. And every time he came to town, I'd go hear him.
Fantastic. So people also know you as having an association and interest in old-timey music. How the heck did that come about?
Well, I started going to a festival in Juneau, Alaska, and I think my first year was 1990, and nobody played blues up there. You know, I'm going to this festival for the first time, and I'm looking around for people to play with, and nobody plays blues. So what are people playing? They're playing bluegrass. They're playing old time. I'm not all that crazy about bluegrass, and I don't play it particularly well. But I liked old time music. I thought that old time music had kind of a fierceness and a primal sort of power that blues also has, and I found that intriguing. And I found and I thought it was fun to learn melodies of songs that you don't know on the fly. I thought that was pretty much fun too. Mm-hmm. So I started playing with people who could really do that. And so, I mean, I basically learned how to play old time music so I could play with this guy named Scotty Meyer, who was my favorite fiddle player. And then after that, Forrest Gibson started playing with us, and we did the Improbabillies album. And that's the album that I had when I first met you. That came out in 1997. So, and I've just been kind of doing that ever since. I really like playing old-time music. I'm not one of those people that knows... I mean, somebody who's really good at old-time music knows like 300 tunes and can, can play in the key of A for 3 hours and not even worry about it. That's not me, but I can move it along pretty well.
It's interesting because it's like a different style in terms of compared to blues. It's like you have to really know these melodies. You have to know exactly what the melody is, or else you'll be probably shunned from the old time world.
Or pick it up quickly. I mean, if you can pick it up quickly, and I play soft until I know what's going on, and then I kind of come forward a little bit. So nobody's kicked me out of an old time jam yet. So that's good.
Now I know both you and Joe are into a lot of the pre-war blues stuff. What kind of do you see connections between the pre-war styles and the old-timey music?
Yeah, the rhythm, the what's the word I'm looking for? The juxtaposition between melody and rhythm. Holding a groove while you're playing a rhythm. That's so in old-time music. Where does that come from? What you're trying to do is you're trying to mimic the subtle bowing patterns that the fiddle has. And the only way to do that is by tongue blocking and going back and forth between single notes and chords. So, and I think that a lot of the pre-war stuff, the solo stuff, has that very same thing. I think it's more virtuoso harmonica playing than fiddle tunes are. Mm-hmm. But especially like somebody like DeeFord Bailey, some of the stuff that he does, that you do extremely well. I mean, better than anybody I've ever heard. And I think that's really, that kind of stuff knocks me right out. I think it's really cool. I do my best with it.
Hey, one of the things that I've always found interesting about your career, a part of your long, amazing career, and especially since you're sitting here in the middle of a duo. You played and recorded for a number of years and toured with Eric Bibb.
I did.
And he is really a killer guitar player and vocalist. Any great stories? Anything you want to share that you remember? Great times, memorable times, bits of wisdom that you picked up playing and touring with him?
Yeah, we met, I don't remember what the year, well, I could probably figure it out. Let's see. It might have been 2006 is when I think I met him. I was teaching in Colorado at a blues camp, and he showed up. He was playing the Telluride Blues Festival, and he showed up and he did a workshop for the students at the camp. And he did a tune at the end of the workshop, just a 12-bar shuffle, and asked me if I'd join him on it. So I played with him, and he right on the spot asked me if I'd play with him on his main stage set. And he asked me to play the last two songs, which was gutsy on his part because he'd only ever heard me play one song. most people would have had me play in the middle, and then if I screwed up, they would have been able to save it, toward the end of the set, right? But that's not what he did. That was a gutsy move. He had me play those last two tunes. So that went really well. We played great, and then after that, he just started calling me to tour with him. I think I'm on 4 or 5 of his albums, and most of the time we toured as a duo, and I took all the solos. He is a really good guitar player. He is a really good singer, and he writes some really nice songs, but he's not a soloist. So that really got me even more into what does it take to serve each song. How do I do that as a harmonica player and make each one sound different? Mm-hmm. And how do I weave my harmonica in and out of his vocals and his guitar in a way that adds to what's going on but isn't intrusive? I think the biggest thing, I knew this already, but it got cemented in my time with Eric. I played with him for about 6 years, is that he already sounds good by himself. Like really good by himself. Mm-hmm. And he doesn't need me to sound good. So if I'm playing with him, I need to make him sound better than he could sound without me. And if I'm not doing that, then I'm not really contributing the way that I need to contribute. So
right on.
Yeah.
So that was the big lesson there.
That is a big lesson, kind of being adding to the music instead of making it about yourself or what you're gonna play or how you're going to impress people. That's an important thing.
I think there's lots of spiritual lessons in music, and one of them is just exactly like you said. It's just most of the time it's not about you, but when it is about you, you better bring it, and you better bring it. You better bring it from a pretty deep place, especially when you're playing with a guy like that. And so not backing down from the moment, but all right, here we go. Let's do it.
Yeah. You have one of the very most impressive resumes out there when it comes to your teaching abilities and all. You've taught at the Port Townsend event, you've taught in Colorado, you've taught at Augusta, you've taught in England at the Euro Blues thing. It's just really, really impressive. Any great memories of that besides
besides doing almost all of those with you?
Enough about you, more about me.
I really like teaching. I've always been pretty good at it, and I've gotten better at it over time. It's something that I try. I think it's something that I think about a lot. It's something that I talk to other people about. I'm always trying to be a better teacher. And so, the biggest thing with harmonica or any kind of teaching, I think, is you got to meet the student where they are, not where you wish they were. And you have to, so how do you going to know that? You have to listen. You have to, ask, get them to do some things, and then hear where they are, and then know where do they need to go from there, and then communicate that with them. And most of the time, they sign up with you, when they're there. I think making the harmonica sound good is really important. I think having a good tone is important. I try to make sure that everybody that I work with has the biggest, most open, relaxed tone that I can help them get. I also want them to play the harmonica in their own voice. I don't want them to be imitators. And I want them to be able to hold a groove down and solo and improvise, like I said, in their own voice. So those are the things that I concentrate on, and it seems like that's well received. So I keep getting invited back to do more teaching things, which I'm grateful for.
That's fantastic. And so not only have you taught at all these events, but you've also started your own harmonica event. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, yeah, when I moved to Lafayette, Louisiana, I made friends with Jim Phillips and Christy Leichty. They own a place called the Whirlybird out in the country in Lafayette. And we were hanging out, having pie and tea and getting amped up on sugar and caffeine and throwing ideas around the table. And we started with the first thing we thought about. Hey, Jerry DeVilliers lives here, and I live here now too, and we could get my buddy Joe to come down, and let's do a harmonica summit. So we did a harmonica summit, and then we decided there's not enough blues going on in Lafayette. The kind of blues that you hear. I mean, if you go to a Blue Monday, you're not going to hear much in the way of Chicago blues or even Mississippi blues. We live right next door to the Delta, and there isn't a single acoustic guitar player. Well, there's one, and he's teaching there. He's,
So what's the predominant style then?
Yeah, well, it's like R&B, you know, and you'll also get some swamp pop going on, and that's something going on, but you know. Slim Harpo lived in Baton Rouge, just an hour east of Lafayette, and I'm the only guy that plays harmonica that plays Slim Harpo in Lafayette. And then Lazy Lester, same kind of thing. He was a local guy, but hardly anybody plays his stuff. So we're trying to bring all of that back. We're trying to reintroduce the harmonica to Acadiana, but we're also trying to reintroduce a different kind of blues that's being played right now. Nice. So that's yeah. I mean, I never would have done that if I was still living in Seattle. But I got to Acadiana, and people encouraged me to do it. And the first two people I wanted to work with were Jerry and Joe, and that turned out to be very successful.
Nice. Yeah. Has moving to Louisiana affected you, like your musical style or anything at all? Do you think, or?
That's an interesting question. Yeah, I mean, well, I'm in a 4-piece blues band that I am the front guy for, and that's new. I've always been in, I've either been in a situation where I'm part of a band, so like an equal part of 5 players, 4 players, 6 players, whatever it might be, or a duo where it's equal that way, or I'm in a supporting role for somebody else. But I haven't really ever been a front guy in an electric blues band before. So that's been kind of cool. And just so I do all the singing and I take half the solos, and so that has stretched me out in all kinds of really good ways. And then in terms of Cajun music and Zydeco, my experience with learning old-time tunes on the fly has helped with that, because the melodies in Zydeco tunes are not nearly as hard as old-time tunes. Mm-hmm. And then Cajun tunes, there's they don't have as many notes as a lot of old-time tunes too, so that's been helpful in terms of trying to pick things up. And the accordion things too, and then getting to hear Jerry and learning from him in terms of that's his whole thing, is making the harmonica sound like an accordion. So I've learned a lot from listening to him and hanging out with him and all of that. Yeah.
Nice. So, what's your latest release that you've put out?
We're working on the latest release that's out now is called Behind the Sun. And speaking of my friend Scotty Meyer, who's a scientist, he's like, well, Grant, you can't technically be behind the sun.
So you have to change the title. You have to take back all the CDs.
He's just sometimes his OCD just kind of rises up, and you just got to deal with it. So that's out. That record is out, and it did really quite well. It was the number 2 album on the acoustic blues charts for 2022, and then it was in the top 10 the following year. So it had some legs, which was cool.
Nice.
We just finished an album, Dirk, Powell, and I, our 4th album. It's called Trouble Down Tesh, and it's pretty eclectic. It's quite a mix. There's some electric stuff, there's some small ensemble stuff, and there's some duo stuff. And unusual that Dirk, who plays 9 instruments at a virtuoso level, pretty much only plays guitar on this one. And
Nice.
And that's that was really cool too. So we're happy with that. It's mixed and mastered, and now we're trying to get funding to finish it. That's the biggest thing. So we'll be putting out a Patreon page, and we'll be doing a GoFundMe, and that'll be coming up pretty quick. So if you want to contribute, we will gratefully accept that.
And what's your website? Your main website?
My website is grantdermody.com.
Nice.
There wasn't another Grant Dermody that had a website, at least a musical one. So go figure.
And what's the website for your event that we were talking about?
That is blownawayonthebayou.com.
Fantastic.
And yeah.
And if anyone is unable to travel, are you available to teach online?
I am. I really enjoy teaching online. So yes, I do. I do private harmonica lessons. I do 30, 45, and 60-minute lessons, depending on what your needs are and what it is that you want to do. And I specialize in helping you improve your tone, helping you your rhythmic playing, and helping you open up your improvisational ideas. So,
what about becoming famous? You don't
I have know absolutely nothing about that. Yeah. I'm not even famous in my family. I mean, what are you going to do? My sister doesn't even know who I am. She looks at me like, "What? What are you doing?"
Oh man. Well, this has been great, man. Thanks so much for stopping by and chatting with us a bit. It's cool to hear about your harmonica journey and all the cool things that you're up to.
Thank you. I'm big fans of both of you, man. I love what you do. I love how, your albums are original tunes and you just lock, the way you guys lock in together. It's also really cool that you play harmonica, and that so you and Joe can kind of communicate that way in a pretty cool way.
Yep.
That's really cool. And Joe plays guitar, so it's
true.
That is also true. So that's very cool. Yeah, you guys are my favorite duo, man. You guys got it going on.
Wow, thank you, man.
Yeah. Cool. Thanks for having me, guys.
Right, you're welcome.
Yeah, I've enjoyed it. We've enjoyed it. It's been a nice little hang here.